Hey guys, I'm starting a little early, so I'll wait a few minutes before I really get going. I just wanted to make sure that this new computer works for everything because I wasn't sure about that. So just wanted to double check that, and it is working, so that's the good news. Thanks for coming to another one of my live streams. I am really happy to have you guys show up. It really means a lot to have you come here. As most of you know, I suffer from multiple chronic illnesses and disabilities, including small fiber autonomic polyneuropathy, total digestive tract failure, seizures, adrenal insufficiency caused by radiation from a brain tumor, childhood-onset schizoaffective disorder, and multiple system atrophy. People with multiple system atrophy generally only live 2 to 10 years post-diagnosis. I was diagnosed in 2018. I want to stop here because so far no one's here. And I'm going to wait a minute because it's only exactly 6 o'clock. So, you know what? I'm going to show you guys a little bit about me because, while I'm waiting for people to come, I know some of you might be curious about some of my tubes. I am on oxygen. I have diaphragmatic weakness and something called atelectasis, and that's why I wear oxygen. I also have less space in my left lung because my diaphragm is raised on the left side, so I have less space in my left lung to get oxygen into. So that's why I wear oxygen. It's all caused by the small fiber autonomic polyneuropathy. Atelectasis basically means that the little spongy little things in my lungs are collapsed and can't exchange air like they're supposed to do. So I have a really hard time breathing, and so I'm on 3 liters of oxygen all the time. I have one oxygen concentrator that's big that stays in my room, and that's my regular oxygen concentrator, and I'm on that when I'm sleeping or when I'm in my room. And then I have 2 portable oxygen concentrators that I can take with me, and one of them has a really long battery life, which is really good. I also have this central line, and it's called a triple lumen Hickman, and as you can see, it has a lot of pieces to it. This is just how to coil it up. But I get all of my nutrition through this special central line. I get TPN, which is IV nutrition, through this one. And basically, it's all the nutrition you need in a day goes through this line. And then I get, through purple lumen, I get my hydration, because you've probably seen me sipping on drinks, but they all get drained out of me immediately into this bag, which is a G-tube drainage bag that goes in through my abdomen. Hi, Vivian, you're the first one here, so I've just been explaining a little bit about my tubes to people since I didn't want to really get started until people got here. So I was showing them my lines. This last one here doesn't have anything attached to it. We hook up my antibiotic to it in the morning that night because I almost always have a UTI. And I do my IV push medicine that I get every 3 to 4 hours. We put it through this line. And then I have another free line also for antibiotics or any other medication or blood draws because I have no veins left in my arms. And then this one is for my medication that doesn't come in IV form. It is called the J-tube, and my meds get pushed through here. And then I can't show it to you because it's secured to the wheelchair, but I also have a special catheter that goes in through my lower abdomen, and drains out my urine, and those are all my tubes. So now I can get started with the actual live. So what I was saying is, writing is my way of coping, and you guys are helping me out right now at this very second by attending this live stream. Because my major mission is to get as much of my writing out into the world before I pass. That way, I can leave my mark on the world, and I feel like I have purpose in my lifetime. My writing will also be my legacy. Does it all hurt? It doesn't hurt, but the GJ tube, which is all the way up here, that one gets sore, and the catheter really hurts, like a whole lot, especially when I have infections. Really hurts, but I am on pain medicine for that. If you can take the time right now to share this live stream, that would be amazing, because that would help me in my mission on getting my writing out into the world. So back to saving Destiny anyway. We last left her in chapter 14 when she was recovering from her episode of Stevens-Johnson syndrome that the Jackson Center had let get completely out of control when they kept insisting her reaction to the Lamictal that almost killed her was just a heat rash. Luckily, the Jackson Center learned their lesson about listening to her when it came to her physical complaints. She was almost able... Oh, thanks for sharing, Vivian. She was almost able to let her guard down, but then realized her 17th birthday that she'd been dreading was fast approaching. We'll begin reading chapter 15 here with Bonnie, Destiny's mom's perspective. During the whole Stevens-Johnson syndrome episode, I made sure to stay in close contact with Dr. Langley. I had lost all trust in Dr. Tanner, the psychiatrist, and I didn't have any faith in the nurses at the Jackson Center either. I was relieved when I finally heard that Destiny's blood levels were finally going in the right direction. Her liver enzymes were still markedly elevated, but Dr. Langley had explained that those could remain elevated for as long as an entire year, and that the Stevens-Johnson syndrome may have caused permanent damage to her liver, but it was damage that she would be able to live with. Because of all the concern over Destiny's physical health, I was less worried about her birthday until it was 2 days away. I just want to pretend it's not happening, Destiny explained to me. I don't want a party. I don't want presents. I don't want anyone to even say happy birthday to me. Eliza advised us to go along with Destiny's wishes on her birthday and informed us that she would make sure the staff would do the same. I'm going to put Destiny on special status for the weekend of her birthday as well, Eliza explained to us. Special status was like having a one-to-one in the hospital. It meant that Destiny would constantly have a staff member right there watching her and only her. Alan and I prayed that this would be enough to keep Destiny safe and out of the hospital. Once again, Eliza cautioned us that it still may be necessary to hospitalize Destiny if she became too out of control. Alan and I prayed this wouldn't be needed, but we weren't deluding ourselves either. We knew our destiny. My thoughts flashed back to various times I had seen her lose control. It was really scary. An image of Destiny strapped onto a stretcher with duct tape around the restraints because she kept ripping through them burned itself inside my head. I tried to push it away, but I couldn't. She's one tough little shit, a female security guard had commented after Destiny was finally secured to the stretcher in the ER. I had just nodded. Destiny was tough, and that could be either a good thing or a bad thing, depending on the situation. Destiny's birthday was going to fall on a Saturday. Do you think we should visit? Do you think we should visit that day? Asked Eliza. It's okay if you come to visit. I want you to come and visit, but just pretend it's not my birthday, Destiny told me. Eliza promised me that she would work with Destiny on coping skills and techniques to deal with the stress that her birthday would cause her. Why do you think she is so stressed out about her birthday? I finally asked Eliza. I think that Destiny is terrified to grow up, Eliza explained to me as gently as possible. She already has a developmental delay. This is really hard for her because people who know her chronological age expect her to act almost 17, and she doesn't have the capacity to do that. Also, her mental and physical illnesses and the multiple hospitalizations they've caused have robbed her of her childhood, and now she's being forced to grow up too fast without the experiences of a healthy, well-rounded childhood to support and cushion her. Imagine if you were 5 and then you blinked and all of a sudden you were 16, almost 17. Inside, you're still a little 5-year-old kid that's suddenly expected to act 17. That's how it is for Destiny. It makes perfect sense that she is scared to grow up. That made so much sense to me. I finally felt like I could understand where Destiny was coming from. I had to admit, I wouldn't know what to do myself if I were in Destiny's position either. My biggest fear was that Destiny would completely lose it and end up seriously hurting herself, even killing herself. Eliza repeatedly assured us that staff would not let that happen, but Eliza had never seen Destiny in full-on crisis mode. What did we do wrong? Alan asked us that night in bed. I thought we did everything right for her. Where did we screw up? It's nobody's fault, I responded, echoing the words that so many therapists had fed to me. She's just sick. It's the same as if she had diabetes, asthma, or even cancer. It just happens. I still feel like the crappiest parent in the world, Alan admitted to me. I know. Me too, I immediately agreed. Destiny's voice had been shaky on the phone that evening. She didn't bring up her birthday. She didn't even say anything about her birthday. But I know that was all she was thinking about. You're coming tomorrow, right? She asked me. Yeah, we'll be there after lunch, like around 1, I assured her. Good. I can't wait to see you. I miss you. Her words were simple ones. She spoke every day, but they were weighted heavily with her fear and anxiety. I love you so much, I told her before I hung up. I tried again to tell myself that it was going to be okay, but I felt like I was lying. I had a short story to edit that was going to be published in the Black Warrior Review in a couple of weeks, an author's bio to write up, and a post to update on my blog. I had loads of laundry and other housework to do, but all I could think about was Destiny. I remembered when she was born. It was like my life had suddenly been lit up with a million light bulbs. I remember when I first held her and kissed her beautiful face. It was like my whole insides had 10,000 watts shining from within. Even as a baby, Destiny had been different. She was always temperamental, but she was always so smart and so precocious as well. She started speaking at only 9 months of age. Once, at 15 months, she shocked a stranger in the elevator. The stranger had asked me how old she was, and before I could answer, little Destiny piped up from the stroller. I am 15 months. She told the woman. The woman's jaw dropped, but Destiny continued quietly sucking on her fingers, not realizing how smart and unique she was. Destiny loved to hear that story. It always made her smile. It was nice to have a story about her being special in a positive way. Lately, all of the stories about Destiny revolved around her illness and her struggles. I finally realized I wasn't going to get any work done, and began thumbing through old photo albums. Again, I found myself drawn to photos of Destiny as a young child. She looked so happy and playful, I wish we could go back in time to that period. I looked at the faces of Alan and me in photos. We looked a lot younger. Our faces looked lighter, less lined with worry wrinkles, all smiles and laugh lines. I wanted those faces back. I wanted that innocence back. The longer I looked at the photos, the heavier I felt inside. Finally, I had to put the albums away. It was too painful. I swore I could hear toddler Destiny begging me, "Save me, Mommy. Don't let me grow up in psychiatric hospitals and institutions. Save me." I could hear her voice, but no matter how hard I tried, I couldn't save her from the fate I knew would become her. By the time Alan came home, I was a mess. Alan hung on to me and stroked my hair as I continued to cry. He didn't say anything. There wasn't anything left to say. He just hugged me and held me and let me get it out of my system. Destiny. On the eve of my 17th birthday, I was fairly convinced that the world might end the following day. The bad man, who had been quieted for so long with the new medication regime, was loud in my ears again. "You have to die before your birthday," he kept insisting. "If you allow yourself to turn 17, bad things will happen. Really bad things. You love your parents, don't you?" he asked. I nodded quietly while sitting on the couch in the living room of the Jackson Center. "If you don't properly kill yourself before your birthday, your parents will die. They will suffer horribly and then die," the bad man warned me in his menacing and booming voice. I dug my fingers into Blinky's ears and took in a shaky breath. It felt like everything else in the world was slowing down. I tried the technique Eliza had taught me about taking deep breaths and observing things in the room around me. Kat and I were the only ones in the room except for CMG, who was my special. Eden and Kara were in the staff office. All the other kids except for Kat were on home visits. On the weekends, most of the kids on Phase 2 and Level 2 or higher were allowed to go home with their families for the weekend. Kat, who, like me, was still on Phase 1 Level 2, was on the couch listening to music. "She can't handle this. She won't be able to handle this," the storyteller teased me. I took another deep breath, but it came in really shaky. "Run up the stairs. If you run up fast enough, you can get out the window. You can fix this. You can end this," the bad man shouted. All of a sudden, I saw my parents in the room. They were lying on the floor near the TV. "Mom! Dad!" I called out and ran over to them. My relief at seeing them quickly melted into complete horror. They were lying there lifeless. Blood was seeping out of both their shirts near their chests. "What happened?" I asked, terrified. Neither my mom nor my dad responded. Their eyes were open, but they were glazed over and empty. I reached out to touch my mom on the shoulder to shake her, but my fingers brushed through her arm like it was air, and then they were gone. They just disappeared into thin air. "Are you okay?" Samji asked me. I looked around the room, confused for a moment, and then just nodded unsurely. I knew I wasn't okay, but I had no words to describe just how far from okay I was. "That was a preview," the bad man warned me. "Are you ready to cooperate?" I nodded. "Okay, you know what you have to do," the bad man told me. I waited a moment until Samji looked away, and then I made my run for it. I dashed up the stairs without saying "going up." I made a beeline for my room and started to wrench the window open. CMG's footsteps pounded up the stairs behind me. "Stop! Destiny! What are you doing?" he called after me. "I have to die. It's the only way," I choked out. "Kara!" CMG called down the stairs. "Kara, help!" CMG grabbed onto my arms and pulled me away from the window. "This isn't the answer," he told me. "I have to die," I repeated, panicked. The image of my still, unmoving parents with the blood on their shirts stained my mind. I tried to pull away from Samji. I knew he meant well, but I also knew he didn't understand how dire the situation was. CMG tightened his grip on my arms. I threw my body weight from side to side, frantically trying to get free. This was an emergency. Kara's footsteps came pounding up the stairs, and then her hands were on me as well. "Let's get her on the ground," CMG was saying. "You must get away," the bad man kept repeating frantically. I tried to free my body with all the strength I had left, but someone's leg was lifting my legs out from under me. My body was being guided toward the ground. Before I knew it, I was pinned face down on the ground. Kara was leaning over my legs and lower body, holding them in place. CMG was holding my upper body and arms. "Dina from the boys' house is coming over. I called and told them we had an emergency," Kara was saying. She said something else too, but it was drowned out by the bad man's screams. "You don't understand. I have to die. It is vital that I die," I cried out to the two staff that were holding me down on the floor. "You don't have to die. It will be okay," Kara tried to tell me. "No, you don't understand," I repeated, so panicked that I was having trouble breathing. "The nurse is going to come over and give you a PRN. Kara's tone was soothing. "The PRN will make you feel a lot better." I struggled to catch my breath enough to speak. "I have to die," I repeated. "Can I do a little visualization exercise with you?" Kara asked me gently. "I guess," I agreed. "Okay, let's imagine you're in a garden. It has a pretty stream next to it. You're sitting near the stream picking flowers. There are yellow ones, blue ones, purple ones. They smell really pretty. You can feel their soft petals in your fingers. Some birds and butterflies are flying overhead. There is a gentle wind rustling through your hair." Kara's calm voice carried on, and I almost felt myself starting to relax until the storyteller's voice whispered in a creepy tone, "Get free! She will get free! She will get free!" the storyteller repeated. My body, that had just been starting to relax, went into full panic mode again. I thrashed around on the floor trying to get free. "You need to try and relax," Samji kept telling me. That was easy for him to say. His parents' lives weren't in danger. An unknown amount of time passed, with me pinned face down on my bedroom floor. Kara would help me start to relax, but then the voices would freak me out again. It came in waves. Anne, the nurse, came by and knelt down near my head. She showed me a 60 ml cath-tip syringe filled with pink peach liquid. "This is your Haldol PRN," she told me. "I'm going to put it through your tube." CMG and Kara kept their grip on me, but rolled me over onto my side so that Anne could have access to my tube-feeding backpack and Jay poured in my tube. "If you can relax enough to be safe, we can let you out of this restraint," CMG told me. I tried to relax my body, but I kept seeing the image of my parents' bodies on the living room floor, and then my whole body would tense up again. Once the meds cleared up my thinking, it finally occurred to me that if I kept struggling, I would never be let out of the restraint and would be no help to my parents. Taking deep breaths, I managed to focus enough to get my body to lay still. CMG let one of my arms go. "You need to keep it still on the floor for a few minutes, and then I will let another limb go," CMG explained to me. I was able to stay still long enough for Kara to let one of my legs go, but then I heard a loud cry. I instantly recognized it as my mom's voice. In a moment of pure panic, I wrenched my body out of the staff's grasp and pulled myself up, dashing toward the window. It was like my fear gave me super strength and super speed. "I will die, just don't hurt them," I screamed out and frantically pulled at the window. Seconds later, though, Kara and CMG had a hold of me again. I struggled to remain upright, but someone pulled my legs out from under me, and then I was on the floor again. As hard as I struggled, I couldn't get free, and then my whole body was pinned face down on the floor again. I was crying so hard that snot was pouring out my nose, and I could barely breathe. Shh, it's okay, Carrie kept trying to assure me. But it wasn't okay. I was so far from okay that okay was on a different planet. My parents were going to die, and it was going to be my fault. The sobs were wrenching out of me so powerfully that they hurt. I cried and cried as I was helplessly pinned on the floor. My gastroparesis and Stephen Johnson syndrome weakened body had run out of fight, and I didn't know what else I could do. Tomorrow was going to be my birthday, and I was going to lose the two people in the world that mattered most to me. And that is the end of chapter 15. Chapter 16 is coming on January 30th. I hope you enjoyed chapter 15. Thanks for watching, guys. I really appreciate it. If you have any questions or comments, I would welcome them now. I'm really glad you watched it. Please subscribe, share, and comment as much as you can. I really love comments. Oh, thank you, Vivian. Thank you. I'm glad you liked it. So yeah, if you haven't subscribed yet, if you could subscribe to my channel, that'd be great. Really glad you guys liked it. And I'm going to end the video now.